He's going to be talking about the role of 5G networks in the metaverse. Bernard works as a technology transformation consultant with Metax and Sienna. They focus primarily on 5G disruption technologies. And he manages and collaborates with a number of research projects in that sector, trying to help projects come to fruition and with technologies that we can all use. So without further ado, Bernard.
Merci. Thank you, my friend. Hi, everyone. Thanks for being here, and I want to thank Kader. Without him, I would not be here today. He really insisted. He said it's going to be great. So I confirm this is a great event. So I'm very happy to be here. I was driving from Montreal yesterday morning, wondering what it's going to look like. I never thought it would be so busy. And the guests you convinced to be here this morning and all the way to the end of the day, just amazing. So I'm glad to be here, Kader. Thank you. All right, so thanks for the introduction. So I'm Bernard Duval, Senior Advisor of Metax Future Networks team. So my role and my team role is to promote innovation across Canada in the future networks field, including 5G, 6G, NextG, and since last week, Metaverse, or today. So very happy to be here with you. So what I'm going to talk about today, first I want to thank David and Lauren this morning. He did the job of explaining Metaverse. Thank you so much, that's done. Arpit, just before me, talked about 5G, so I'm covered there. And George, my friend, you well presented Anchor. But I will get back to those subjects because the request was, can you talk about the 5G network's role in the Metaverse? Okay. So the way I'll do it, I will talk a bit about Metax experience in the field of funding and creating innovative program. So I will do that to, at the end, ask you a big question. What do we do with Metaverse? Okay. So I'll tell you a bit about Metax. Now I'm stuck, I cannot read that. So the purpose of Metax is to fund initiatives across Canada in any fields, okay, to empower really the companies and researchers. So our mission is to catalyze forces from the ecosystem. I will talk about a lot about the ecosystem, and hopefully this is the ecosystem foundation of Metaverse. We'll talk about it later. So our vision, Canadian innovation will create change that transforms the world. So it seems that it's been said already today. First, before I need to thank our funding partners. So Metax is a not-for-profit, and we're funded by the federal government of Canada and all provinces. That's important to know. A few words on how Metax works. So I took just one of our program, but it says it all. Very important to understand to know what we do. So imagine one fellow, one student, one professor, one company, private company or not-for-profit, you have a project, a research project. So Metax, what we do, we fund that project along with a private company. Okay? So a 4-month project is $15,000. Metax will pay half of it, and the industry partner will pay the other half of it. Okay? David, did you know about that? Because you're funding these kinds of projects. Okay? But it doesn't stop here. You can grow up to multi-million-dollar projects. You can have multi-universities across Canada working on a single project. Okay? So bear that in mind. So if you go up to 6 units, so if you have a bigger project, you're only going to pay 45% of it instead of 50%. So a few numbers about Metax. More than 77,000 internships since 2008. 17,000 just this year. So Metax is growing very rapidly. More than 12,000 researchers from 81 universities across Canada. More than 100 post-secondary partners in Canada. That will include colleges, CEGEP in Quebec, and other organizations like that. More than 8,000 industry partner organizations. So what is an industry partner organization? A private company, a not-for-profit who wish to do collaborative research with universities, okay? 35,000 research projects in the last 10 years. So I think that's amazing. More than $800 million invested, okay? Up to $1 billion in the next 5 years. So remember that number for the discussion I'd like to have at the end. So what are we going to do with that money? Can we do research for Metaverse? I guess so, okay? So I mentioned academic partners. We work with all universities across Canada. The one with, who have the chance to have their logo, they're official academic partners. So we work more closely with them, but honestly, we work with all institutions. And most of the colleges, but not all of them, because we just started a few years ago working with colleges, where with universities it's been 20 years, okay? So why I'm showing this, if you need to work with the best researchers in Metaverse, we will find them in Canada and we will work in collaboration with them. Okay? We support collaborations at any stage of your innovation roadmap, okay? And in any sector. So today we're going to talk technology, but it could be social innovation, it could be human resources, it could be any discipline that is covered in the network of universities across Canada. Okay? So that, of course, will include 5G and Metaverse. We can help with new product development, exploring disruptive technologies like 5G, product and process optimization, and finally commercialization. You create something great, need to sell it, right? So MyTax and 5G, I will look at George a few times here because I'm going to repeat a few information he provided earlier, but in the context of MyTax, okay? I will also talk about AI, cybersecurity, quantum, next-gen internet. I guess I will need to change that for W3, right? Web 3.0. It's been used a lot. Multi-cloud, edge AI, and 6G. And the reason being that just talking about 5G is worthless. We need all those technology to develop at the same time to really support the metaverse that we dream of, okay? So I talked a bit about the university, the colleges. The Future Networks team is working also with big names. I won't name them, I'm sure you recognize them. So I work very closely with VMware, Ciena, Ericsson, but the others are all working with MyTax. It's tricky, right? I'm using big names just to give some credibility to MyTax. But did you know that more than 90%, I think 98% of companies in Canada are small businesses? So we're working with hundreds and thousands of small businesses conducting research projects. So OVA here, Harold, big cheerleader of innovation in Quebec. We meet at all events and in many projects, so good job, Harold. Livio, that's interesting, another Canadian company who's actually working on the next generation of the Canadian arm in the space. So Canada is in the space developing AI technology. And Jakarta is quite interesting because that company used 5G to map Toronto. So the entire Toronto city now exists in a computer. Imagine it as a metaverse city. So when it's time to change a bridge or repair anything in the city, don't need to drive, take measurement, it's all there. So their job is to map. Every day we map, so we accelerate renovation of the city. Encore 5G. So I won't repeat everything, but just to say that it's a $400 million investment. So that's important to keep in mind. I'm going to talk about it later when it comes to Metaverse. I will talk for Quebec, 1,000 internship and 500 students who worked on different research projects along with Ericsson, Ciena, Thales, IBM, and CGI. I believe it was 1,000 SMEs in the earliest presentation. 1,000 applications. Okay, so 800. Excellent, thanks for that. So just for your information, the execution of Encore in Ontario was done by OCI. We have an OCI team here, and we have a friend who will present right after. So chair. In Quebec, the execution was done by Adric and Prompt, and they did a pretty good job as well. So I won't say much about it because, George, you did it, but MyTax was pleased to work on this project because, of course, it's right aligned with the Future Networks objectives. But more importantly, what I want to say is you had 5 major companies, 5 international companies working with 1,000 SMEs. And that's what we're aiming at, using every stakeholders of the economy, have them together and work well. So George, Harold, you did a presentation together, and that's a great example of what we try to achieve in Canada. So good job with that. Here we're going to remove the word 5G by Metaverse if you want, okay? In the future, if we want to do intense research in Metaverse, we can say we could build an innovative Metaverse ecosystem in Canada. I would like that. Allow SME to develop and test their ideas and technologies, maybe on a test bed. That would be great. Have labs. Develop highly qualified talent. Well, that's MyTax mission, right? So we have great minds today who presented their ideas. They will need a lot of resources to accomplish that. It's difficult to find great talents with a lot of expertise and great knowledge. So we can help with that. Accelerate product and service commercialization for Canada SMEs. You see here Quebec because it was another presentation. Sorry about that. So that's the vision here. So why 5G? We've done it already. So great program. What about Metaverse? Okay. So a few words about the role of networks, but also what's the sustainable path to 5G? I had to add 6G to it. Okay. So I said I would give a few examples of what MyTax did in the past and might be useful for the Metaverse ecosystem to develop itself. Okay? So MyTax has been a long-lasting partner in AI in Canada. So we're partner with all organizations across the country. We're doing thousands of research projects. Okay? That's just for AI. Quantum, we're partnered with the 5 epicenter organizations. So Toronto University, Waterloo, Ottawa, Calgary, and Sherbrooke University. That means that we work closely every day with the top researchers in quantum. So we have employees full-time doing that across the country, and I would imagine doing the same for Metaverse. Cybersecurity is the same thing. So just to give you another example, I forgot to present you my colleague Laura here. She's working with MasterCard. We have an MOU with MasterCard to invest $500,000, $500K, to develop innovation in cybersecurity. That is just one example, but there's examples like that across the country. Okay? AR, VR, in my opinion, that's Metaverse 1.0. We can agree or not. But we've been doing a lot of funding for these kind of initiatives. One being with Silicon Valley startup. Imagine, we're having Silicon Valley companies coming here to Canada to do research projects. So that is amazing. We can be proud of our universities, but also the ecosystem in general. Okay? Beyond Metaverse, also collaborate with MyTax. Next-gen Internet, what we've heard today was Web 3.0. So MyTax is collaborating with Open Grid Alliance in North America to recreate the architecture of Internet so it can support 5 minutes. I need 50 minutes. All right, that's my, I have one more slide, no worries. Okay, so we work internationally with European Commission, with NSF in the US. And the last one, multi-cloud edge. So my predecessor talked about that. So there's a lot of investment by the big names I told you, but also many SMEs on multi-cloud, edge AI, and 6G. Okay? So I have a proposal to you, ecosystem present today. So we have 2 options. So we can build Metaverse onto existing MyTax-led initiatives, or partners initiatives. I mean, I'll talk a lot about MyTax because I know these one, but there's many initiatives with other organizations. So we can leverage 5G 2.0. So there will be a follow-up and way more research there. There will be funding. There is an ecosystem existing. So you should join. Then number 2, sustainable path for 6G. So I'm working right now on collaboration with other countries, namely Korea, Japan, European Commission, UK, NSF, and the US. And we want to make sure we have test bed that connects with one each other. So if we want our platform, our Metaverse platform, our services, we need to test them, right? There's the next gen, well, I'll forget quantum, but next gen internet, same thing, looking at a loop, an internet loop. So I'm proud, well, I cannot announce it. So I'll say in general, there are 2 cities between the US and Canada that will be connected with a next gen pipe. So there will be the next generation 3.0 connection that will be able to be used to do tests. But I won't say the name before it's announced. And now I'm looking for a place in Europe. I met a gentleman from Germany, so we'll discuss that later. So we either work on existing initiatives or we have an industry and ecosystem-driven initiative. So we have a great ecosystem here. Do we want to build it? Do we want to work together with all partners, the companies, the government, the funding, the OCI, friends, MyTax, NSERC? If so, let's talk later at the cocktail. So thank you very much. If you have questions afterward, please come see me.
Thank you very much.